the things that people frequently do incorrectly with decks like this is not a control deck. This is not a mid-range deck. This is not a deck that's trying to be super interactive. The bits of interaction in our sideboard are there for when people are being heavily interactive with us, and trying to be interactive with the ramp decks is the wrong approach to that matchup. You're just going to lose sometimes because you don't race them efficiently. The solution isn't put cards in your sideboard to be interactive for when you lose the race. The solution is mulligan better or draw better. I know that sounds kind of trivial, but that's how these decks work. That's how you should be approaching those matchups to win. If you're interested in being interactive in matchups, this is not the deck for that. The purpose of this deck is you play your 15 1-drops, you play your deck that curves out to 4 here at the top end, and you run people down. That's the goal of this deck. As always, if you have a card recommendation, I'd encourage you to tell me why that card is good, what problem does it solve, what we should be replacing for that card, things of that nature. Magic's a game where there's, tens or hundreds of thousands of combinations of cards you could be playing at any given point. So focusing on finding a problem and creating a solution for it is the best way to narrow that down. I got you, Bauerstein. And since this ranked season doesn't matter, we can go back into the ladder. Let's go! Healer Squawk. Get him. Caca! I mean, I have 4 giant killers, just the 4th one's in the sideboard, because Guidemother's good at jumping up and killing people, which is what this deck's trying to do. So if they want to trade a shock plus this attack here for this, I think I'm fine with that. What's the change? Prompting every month to matter. They're just changing how organized play works with regards to Magic Arena. Wow! Brutal. Get forked, bolted. I've seen some deck lists run copies of Dawn of Hope for card drawing. No, I don't think that's good. I think Dawn of Hope's a good example of people trying to make this archetype do things that it's not good at doing. Just kill people. Octopus was reasonable. 4 was too many, but it was fine otherwise. You're not wrong, DMS. Whenever I'd engage with a conservative relative and I'd talk about some issue Trump did, and they'd be like, well, Hillary did that. I was like, good, if she did, let's throw her in jail and put her on trial too. They'd always be like taken aback. Like the idea that someone could just be like not okay with people committing crimes regardless of what letter was next to their name was just completely foreign to them. I think we just keep powering up the Hawk because it lifelinks. I mean, like, I'm not naive enough to believe I'm impartial. Like, I'm definitely not impartial, right? Like, everyone has bias, but like, I'm also not gonna say, hey, if they actually committed a crime, like, that they shouldn't also serve for that. Just has Torbrand in play, doesn't matter. Get you. I forgot to restart the client during the last break. What a tilter. Devout Decree sounds great against their mono red deck. Trim Tomik, trim a giant killer, call it a day. I did not. Apparently, I had the latter seasons messed up, and the latter season that matters starting next month. Every latter season matters. This one doesn't. I was bringing in Birth against decks where I was boarding in my 5 mana spells. Protection is such a stain of a mechanic. It's such a stain of a mechanic. Golly. Can I just like go back? Can I just like go back to, does anybody remember when people were like, 1 mana accelerants are no good and protection is no good? Those are 2 things that are bad for Magic. Can we just like go back to that being a thing? I feel like I'd like to go back to that being a thing. Yeah, I really liked Hexproof from X. I thought Hexproof from X was such a clean solution. Was such a clean solution to that. Actually, this blocks that stupid O3, right? Let's bring those in. Yeah, Kenix. I mean, like, that's just like base people being greedy and selfish, right? Like, people don't care if what they're doing hurts other people or the planet, so long as they get theirs. And change is scary and frightening, so having to learn something new is scary and frightening. Hassan's great. The idea of I disagree with that, Haskow. I think the idea of protection is fundamentally bad. I think it creates dry and bad gameplay patterns. Hopefully we draw a land next turn and just like double Pridemate attack with Linden. Correct. It doesn't even have to do about plans, Sam. People are just terrified of change. Like a lot of people who work those jobs don't want to transition to new jobs. I'm sure a lot of them even understand that like their job's not good for the planet, but change is tough. So they attacked there because they were hoping to Pyro Helix my bird and my Ajani. Yeah, you want a small example of change? Look how people have responded to the London mulligan, and that's not anywhere near as life-changing as telling someone they need to get a different career. I actually responded to you, Possible Bard. The way you asked your question is bad, and I gave you feedback and executed a chat command to try and help you ask your question in a better way, and you ignored me. So you definitely weren't paying attention to me paying attention to you. Here's the card rec command again to kind of give some feedback on how to ask smart questions. Our true strength lies in our friendships. Perfect. Fervent Champions go on the distance. Yeah, I mean, that's the red deck in post-board matchups a lot of the time turns into takes a more controlling role. The problem with this Unchained Berserker is I really need to find something like a Heliod so I can start growing multiple threats here. Sure, Kenix, but again, like, if you're actually familiar with the plans you're talking about, like, all of the plans that, like, if you're a fan of Bernie, are you not familiar with his policies? All of the candidates that have plans to move to cleaner energy include plans to address those displaced workers. That was best draw on her deck. So, like, I think what you're saying is off base, so you don't understand, like, what's been put forth. All right, so we're gonna pump Linden up to a 4/4 here, so that way she doesn't. Actually, I think I want to get her to a 5/5 so she doesn't die to Slaying Fire. All right, well now they're all going on Linden. So they can't race me at this point, right? Because Heliod gives these lifelink. So, like, they have to leave these back because protection means I don't lifelink. Really? Okay. Seems loose. Do they have a third Unchained Berserker? They can't even race that, though, right? Like, this doesn't race me. This is definitely an auto-ordered triggered abilities deck. This can't exile artifacts. It's only planeswalkers or creatures. Like, I get to gain 8 here. Did they not realize? They might not have realized this had an activated ability. Oh, I'm dumb. I missed lethal, right? I'm dumb. I could have just killed them. I was so confused by their attack that I was, like, talking about their attack. Yeah, obviously Decree kills them. Obviously the Decree kills them. Brad mentioned exile the Embercleave, and I was talking about why that doesn't work. We were talking about fracking and plans, and it's fine. It's gonna be okay. Yeah, we're still ahead here. So, is that like a #1 sign that this matchup's impossible for you? Like, they drew 2 protection from white sideboard cards and still just died? Just like... sure. Blizzard is moving their esports stuff to YouTube. That's wild. I wonder if they got a pile of money for that. Am I supposed to put top 100 in my stream title now? I'm pretty sure that's how that works, right? Obligated to put top 100 in my stream title? I didn't upkeep tap the bird because I wanted to tap any potential blocker so I could attack next turn. And if you'd like to discuss why that's not correct, feel free to do so in chat. Again, rather than saying, hey, Jeff, what you did is, rather than saying, hey, Jeff, is what you did wrong, say, Jeff, this is what's right, and this is why I feel that's right. Create a dialogue. Don't just ask me to lecture at you. As always, if you ever have a question about what's in the deck we play or if I made any changes, you can find the deck list via the Stream Decker widget on screen. So next turn, we'll like down tick Ajani, play new Ajani, down tick Ajani, attack, get a bunch of triggers. If they don't find a Mayhem Devil next turn, we might be in an okay spot. If they find Mayhem Devil this turn, they might be able to get under us before we can get... They might be able to stabilize before we can get under them. If Stream Decker doesn't load the first time for you, you can minimize it and reopen it again. Alternatively, you can also click through to the Stream Decker website and look at it there. So it's again, like Pathfinder, you're not new here. I'm not asking you to correct my lines before they're too late. I don't care if I win a random match of Magic Arena. My goal isn't to have you save me before I make a mistake. The goal is to have a discussion about what we're doing in the game. That's the goal. So I think I'm just passing here with the plan to diddle Corvald before it can attack me, and then next turn we'll attack them. They're gonna draw so many cards here, though. Good chance we just don't keep up with Corvald at this point. Especially if they find a Mayhem Devil, they'll run away with the game very quickly. Yeah. It only does artifacts and creatures, Brad. Which I guess is enough a lot of the time. But yeah, I feel like without a good one-drop start here, we're just too far behind. This isn't a good one-drop start. You have a Garrick in their main. That's wild. We need to stop to prevent Corvald. No. I assume they're going to sack Cat. Really? Okay. Oh, maybe they want to kill Pridemate here before it gains life? Yeah, we're super dead. Go to the next game. This is what the decrees are for. I don't know if Giant Killer's good enough. He's like fine against exactly Corval, but he's bad against the rest of their deck. I think on the play, I just want Decree. Maybe on the draw, I want a little bit more. I don't know that Revoke is good enough. Maybe we do just want Banishing Light in the board. Arena's always given you a chance to do activated abilities at the beginning of combat. The issue with Arena has been cards like Legion War Boss that trigger at the beginning of combat that you need to stop to react to during their main phase still. So you've always had to stop at enter combat. You don't always get a stop during their main phase. Yeah, Revoke is mostly there for like opposing gods. Sand's really good if we can draw lands 3 and 4 on time. That's actually a really good draw too. So if we can. If we draw land 3 next turn, we're going to be in a great spot. Why do you think Heliod's intervention is good in this matchup? Why do you think we care about Oven and Trail of Breadcrumbs? How are those cards killing us? Because from my perspective, from the game we just watched, we lost to Mayhem Devil and we lost to Corvald. Killing artifacts and enchantments doesn't seem like it solves the problem that we had that game. Can you tell me what problem you think that card solves that we had there? Don't just look for cards that seem good. Think about what the cards are doing and how the matchups are playing out and why they're useful. That type of critical analysis will help you become better at evaluating which cards are good and which cards are bad in the decks that you're playing. Thanks for the 5 months, Llama Llama. Welcome back. Hope you're having a good one wherever you're at. Think about how the games are playing out. Is that the average case scenario for the games? What's actually beating you in those games? Is the card you're trying to add actually addressing the thing that's beating you? To be fair, Oven is what makes Devil good. I don't even think that's true, Brad. Just Goose eating food makes Oven good, makes Devil good. I think we struggle to beat Devil in games where they have Goose. We struggle to beat Devil in games where they have Corvald, where they have even Trail of Crumbs. Like, Devil just doing random... Like, Oven puts the Devil into overdrive, but, like, every part of their deck is good with that. Peak Twitch chat is me taking the time to explain why something that was just said I don't agree with, and then someone just repeating back the thing that I just said I don't agree with. So, I disagree with your assessment that Oven is the only way Mayhem Devil is good for all of the reasons I just took the time to list. This is pretty good. You like soup. Someone hates you for liking soup. Someone else hates you for not liking soup enough. Someone thinks soup is fine, but you chose this soup as evidence that you're a murderer and wants you to prove that you're not. You know none of these people. Alright, what's happening here? There is a core vault. Also, this guy's great. Daniel Dale, if you don't follow him and you want to fact check Donald Trump constantly, he's great. Just like, crap like this is nonsense. Just, it's so frustrating. Just the tribalism and us versus them and him trying to paint himself to be a victim. So, unfortunately here, we don't really have good attacks, right? Yeah, Jeskai Friends and Historic got a bunch of new cards. Both Omen and Birth of Mentless are good. I mean, Heliod attacks and becomes a 6/6, and their core vault becomes an 8/8, and they draw 2 more cards. I don't even get to throw away a bunch of attackers. I think we probably just need more removal for Corvold. I think that's definitely the case. That matchup definitely feels like it's all about keeping Devil and Corvold off the table. So going up to 6 ways to do that post-board is probably good. Not doing a full shill. I do need to restart the client though. That's a good suggestion. The soup thing was just a random Twitter post about. No matter, the soup post was a random Twitter post explaining with a useful metaphor about how regardless of what you do, some people are going to like you and a lot of people are going to hate you, so you might as well just do you. As well. Not worry about what they're going to do, say, think, or feel, because no matter what you do, some number of them are going to be pissed off. I feel like for having 23 lands in this deck, we really miss our 3rd and 4th land quite often. See if we can do it again this game or not. I'm more of a progressive suit man myself, Progresso. It's Progresso, right? I always say progressive and Christy gets annoyed. I'm pretty sure it's Progresso soup. Progressive is the audio company, right? So, the Wanderer just it doesn't protect damage to itself, right? So the Wanderer just dies to their Mayhem Devils, right? It's probably worse than Banishing Light. Yeah, I agree with that. Alright, squad goals, chat. God bless auto order trigger ability, so. Thank goodness they took the having to click yes off of this card. Pridemates are hitting the gym, chat. Next turn we can kill them with this. Did I have lethal with this? Against these ramp decks, I like just bringing in 2 Tomik. Our matchup here is pretty good. We're just looking to run people down. Giant killer's kind of whatever. By the time this is useful, you're usually just dead. Whenever I play this deck, I fold any sweepers. I would recommend being luckier and potentially being less unlucky. Gideon Blackblade's probably one of your best cards for dodging sweepers. You could play more of this card in your sideboard. You could also play some 4-mana Elspeth in the sideboard as a way to play through sweepers. Resilient cards like that tend to be your best tools for those types of things. I mean, you don't always have the option to not play into the sweepers. Magic's a game that frequently lacks player agency, and it's often correct in these aggro decks, just like hope they don't have it and make them have it. You'll tend to win more games by just saying hope you don't have it, attack, than holding back. I think Unbreakable formation is bad because the games that you lose to sweepers involve them having the sweeper on turn 4 or 5 usually, and you don't have the ability to hold up mana for the turn 4 or 5 sweepers. So the games in which Unbreakable formation ends up being good are generally the games that you should have been winning anyways. At least in my experience playing this archetype. Unbreakable formation is the type of card where you feel smart and thin when it gets to work, but frequently you've made yourself worse off by playing it, in my experience. Just play more individually good cards. The old double Ajani start here again. Don't have Linden this time, though, which is relevant. Yeah, cards like Gideon or 4-mana Elspeth are cards that are good cards for fighting their things, because those are cards that have relevant text even when you are not, even when they don't have their sweeper. So you'd rather play cards that are incidentally good against sweepers while also being good when they don't have the sweepers. That's what ideal looks like in my experience. All right, do I just kill their Nissa here? I think I just kill their Nissa here, right? Since they tapped off their land. Yes, I think Unbreakable formation is a card that's very good against mid-range decks for when boards get big and you need to punch through. I don't think it's good as an anti-sweeper card. I agree with April's assessment. This card's been really impressive. We're gonna play a green-white enchantments deck after this, where that card's also been very good for me. I mean, I've got a lot of pressure here, Justin. So, like, I don't know, it's like that much more pressure on them to, like, up the Ajani. Like, they're kind of dying here, right? This card's so good. It's so good, chat. No, Daxos is any creature. Whenever any creature enters or dies. Yes, using Castle to put counters on them is great. Upheaval exists in this format, right? It's a 6 mana card. Upheaval would get us. I'm forgetting what it's called. It's some weird card that like puts something back into play, right? Flood of Tears. Yeah, that's the one. Flood of Tears. All right, are we done here? I think we're done here. Speaking of sweeper protection, let's pay a little bit more attention to our sideboard here. I've mostly just been killing people with the main deck. I think some control decks are playable in this format. Let's get rid of these births. I'm gonna go up a Gideon. I think I want to play 2 Elspeths in the board here. I think sounds ideal. So we have 5 good threats to bring in, plus that. That sounds good. Yeah, we were top 100 before we lost the last one. And for anybody else that needs a lesson on how the arena ladder works, we were 99. We lost a match and went to below 200, and then we won a match and we're only back to 160. So you really got to have good win streaks. So, someone brought up that apparently I forgot an announcement card where they walked back this month mattering for rank because people got upset about it, believe it or not. So, next month is the month where rank matters. So we can just play on the ladder with good decks and bad decks and whatever. So next month, maybe we'll care if we have a good streak. If you were top 1,200 in October, November, or December, you don't need to be top 1,200 this month, Brad. So the Gem TQ that you qualify for in February, you are automatically qualified for if you played the MCQ this month. Okay. Yeah, and as a heads up, Brad, if you're not familiar with it, the thing that this month qualifies you for isn't really meaningful unless you plan to chase mythic points. The only real meaningful prize this month is mythic points. Where do these sleeves come from? Were these a mastery? I feel like these were a mastery sleeves. I think. There was a Knights bundle. There's so many cosmetics, I forget which ones come from where. We're probably dead here. The Burger King Avatar bundle. It did look like Burger King, you're right. We're super dead. So I'm gonna board pretty minimally when we're on the play here. I'm going to cut the Tomiks because they're not super useful against the non-Nissa deck. I'm going to bring in a Giant Killer and a Banishing Light. We'll probably bring in the other 2 Banishing Lights when we're on the draw. But on the play, I just want to be as proactive as possible. I'm going to try my hand at the standard metagame challenge. No, I have no reason to gamble on that. I have all of the in-game products I need. It mostly gives booster packs, right? And like, I have basically full play sets of all the sets. I would recommend playing a deck that you enjoy playing, is always my recommendation for competitive Magic events. The good decks are not good enough to be worth being miserable while you play them. Holy gosh, that's a third land. That's so exciting. Whale noises intensify, exactly. Curve out. Curve out. Do-do. Do-do. So if I do this, I can make this an 8/8. Yeah, this is my pick for linear deck, Brad. If you want to just run people down, this is my choice. So if you're looking to ladder efficiently, this would definitely be the one I would recommend at the moment. All right, so on the draw for game 3 here, I think I'm going to board in a couple Banishing Lights. I'm going to cut a couple of Strength of the Prides. Do I want a couple of Devout Decrees? What are their red creatures? Do we think they're on goblins? Spellbreaker and Bone Crusher Giant for sure. It might be right to just trim all the Ajanis. And bring these in. I'll board in one. See how it goes. They're definitely not on Torbran. The green base aggro decks don't play that card. We don't know. So there haven't been any Magic tournaments. Remember, chat? So people are like, who are asking like, what's the norm? What do they normally play? Stuff like that. We don't know is the answer. Let's see. It's great. Let's draw a third land by 3. Anything people are saying are popular is purely anecdotal and should be taken with a grain of salt. Hey, Chris, thanks for the biddies. I appreciate it. Hey, good to have you here. Here's someone that catches live a little bit later in the afternoon. Something my wife and I decided that made sense to do is we've hired an after-school sitter for a couple afternoons a week, so I will be streaming a little bit later into the afternoon a little bit more consistently again. So I believe every Monday and Wednesday, and then sometimes Fridays moving forward, I plan to be live till about 5 o'clock. think I'm just gonna Daxos here, because this lets me hold up Life's Bounty to protect this. And if I protect this, I feel like they have a really hard time winning here. Although I guess Questerson changes that. Well, I guess I can just Banishing Light him. So Questerson, part of his large text box there, obviously is the ability to stop protection from working. One of his many features. No, I don't really want to trade my Pridemate. Because again, remember, Questerson stops protection. Punches right on through. Second one. That's unfortunate. Think I have to at this point. Nah, no, let's not. This offers a trade without me sacrificing Life's Bounty, which is great. The bot in chat does look up cards, so if you know the name of a new card you're not familiar with, you can type exclamation point and then the start of the card name. Add this to an oven deck of your choice. Will do, Gendy. We have a submission in the queue to try 4-color oven with Uro. So we're going to get to that at some point soon. About to get cleaved. Yeah, burritos. Am I incorrect that the opponent could have blocked with the beast and traded when you attacked with it? You are incorrect because I had Life's Bounty in play. It's lethal. Thanks for the 24 months. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Unfortunate that they elected to kill the one that I didn't have a second copy of here. We could not Ludzi, because that's not how Questing Beast works. Questing Beast stops protection. Is the bit you're missing there. Hey, Dwayne Lesnar. Thank you for the brand new Prime Support. I appreciate that. Welcome to Hoaglandia. Hope you're having a good one wherever you're at. We're just at here, right? Like I have a 4-4 in it, yep. Needed a second payoff this game. Maybe it's wrong to board out. Maybe it's wrong to board out as many Ajanis as I did because of that. Of course, I also didn't really draw. We only drew one sideboard card. Specifically on page 142, paragraph 3, second sentence of Questing Beast. Oh, Questerson, why you have so many words? Easy mulligan here, and only other a lot of lands, but we don't really have a good payoff curve here. This hand doesn't have a stellar curve, but it's good balance. If we hit a Pridemate or an Ajani or a Heliod, it's very reasonable. We're going to keep this and bottom the Guidemother, I think. Yeah, I just like, when I spent a ton of time playing SCG tournaments, I just can't tell you the number of times where like, I heard from grinders who are like, oh, I hate this deck and I hate all its matchups, but it's just so much better, I gotta play it. It's like, no you don't. Magic's something you should be doing for fun. Even when you're like really good at Magic, the odds of making a lot of money playing are like pretty low. As always, if you'd like to recommend a card being added to our sideboard, I'd encourage you. Why did I attack with this? I thought I had Heliod in play in my head. It's fine. It'll be okay. As always, if you have a card recommendation, I'd encourage you to tell me what problem you're solving with that card. Focus on specifics, not generics. I'd also encourage you to read Banishing Light if you don't think this deck can answer an enchantment. These are going to block us for a little while. So the best way to learn is not me telling you what's right and what's wrong. The best way to learn is for you to form logical arguments and create discussion. So if you can't tell me why a card is good, that's probably because it's not. So rather than me telling you that your idea is bad, if you instead focus on telling me why it's good, you will learn from trying to make that explanation, rather than just being spoon-fed. It's one of the big things that you see between teachers who are good and teachers who are bad. Bad teachers are going to hand you the answers. Good teachers are going to make you think about why the right answer is the right answer. And it's okay to come up with a reason and have your reason end up being wrong. It's the effort that goes into it that's important. That's where the learning happens. And some of the time, when you sit down to think about why something's good or why something's bad, you're going to talk yourself out of it being good. Or maybe you'll talk yourself out of it being bad. And you'll give it a try. Yeah, probably, Luzzy. That sequencing is probably better. Think we just keep this around. Actually, I guess I don't, right? Because I have Linden here to enable life gain every turn. So I think I'd rather save Bounty to protect Pridemate later. Again, Spankweasel, don't focus on what the cards do in the context of what their text box is. Focus on what the cards do in the context of the matchups that you are playing. Say, this is a problem that I'm having. This is how that card solves the problem. It's a really important distinction, in my opinion. Oh, I should have made this pro-white so I could block Starfield Mystic. They didn't attack, so it didn't matter, but worth mentioning there. I like how you bragged about being a teacher and then you came back and doubled down and didn't actually do what I asked you to do. I know what the card does. I can read the card. I didn't ask you what's the text on the card or what it does. I said, what is a problem that the card has, that we have, and how does that card solve it? I don't give a crap if you have some arbitrary, an appeal to authority is never relevant. You saying you're a good teacher because you're in the top 25% of whatever for your bonus, that's like someone saying, hey, you need to listen to me because I top 8 at a Magic tournament. That's not useful or relevant. If the only thing you can say to justify for why we should listen to you or why your idea is good is because you're an authority figure, your idea is probably not good. Is Shadow Spear crazy to give trample? I think that's not very good. I think we play 4 copies of Guidemother and we play Life's Bounty, and Heliod can stack counters on the flying creatures. So I know like this game we would really like an evasive threat, but like we have evasion in the deck. Who needs trample when we have the abyss? That's true. And we're about to have 2 abysses too. Like, another way you can kind of punch through is to just like have multiple Pridemates too, which also comes up a lot of the time. I feel like because this is kind of a synergy-based aggro deck, playing a card like the Spear that's like only really good when we have other good things going on is not ideal. Yeah, our opponent's paying a lot of life for their spells in the back of these Treacherous Blessings. Thanks for the 16 months, Saba Speed. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Hey, look! My opponent has a lot of artifacts and enchantments, and that's a problem I need to solve, so I'm gonna board in this card that I put in my sideboard for dealing with artifacts and enchantments, because I've already addressed that problem by playing this card. Weird. Giant Killer doesn't seem too useful. I just leave 2 Tomiks in as an evasive threat. That seems fine. We try any decks with Starfield, Mystic, and Standard. Yeah, we played a green-white enchantment aggro deck the other day that had Starfield, Mystic that felt pretty okay. You can find it was one of the decks of the day. It went up on my YouTube channel. As always, if you're ever wondering what were some of my favorite decks that you missed, you can always find it on my website here. I think we're going to play green-white enchantments after this deck too, but I don't recall offhand if the next build is also playing Starfield Mystic or not. Yes, the original sideboard that we had for this deck was a total disaster. It was 15 white cards that I threw together. It is in the next list. Okay, sweet. Thanks for checking, Indy. Ho, ho, ho. This takes non-creature, non-land. That's unfortunate. So it's going to take my Ajani here too. That's really rough. This card's really good when the first 2 modes both work. We need another payoff now. Heliod, Pridemate, Ajani. Nah, I think rather than playing God's Willing, I'd much rather just have a higher density of good threats. And like, we already have 4 of whatever the 1-drop enchantment creature is that does something similar. So yeah, we're playing the Protection Dork already. Yeah, Life's Bounty. Tomik looking okay here. It's just a 2/3 flyer like we were hoping it would. Even if we draw a land at this point, that's not the end of the world because then our castles turn on. Friendo. I don't know about that one, Friendo. Was this like the Stone Cold worst straw in our deck? It's like the only spell we couldn't cast here. Brutal. Well, you know. He is okay now. Yeah, back up Daxos. I choose you. Get in there. Wait, why did this get 2 counters? What am I missing that this got 2 counters? Oh, Elspeth. Elspeth puts a counter on it. Okay, that's what I'm missing. Thank you. I knew I was missing something there. I was like, Conquers Death gives a loyalty where I 1/1 counter. Good call. So this is still useful with this because this gives +2/+2. Yeah, we get 2 life gain triggers here. So go to 34, which is unfortunately 1 short of Ajani alt. Do I just like take Doomboy here? I think I just take Doomboy here. They could start exiling my dorks from my bin though. That might be wrong. We're towards the end of this one punch where they think I'm gonna do 1 more after this before we roll on to green-white enchantments. Yeah, I think maybe I was supposed to take this. I don't know, I think we're kind of in a crap spot regardless of what I take. The Kaya's Wrath was pretty good. Probably want to bring in Gideon for the last game. Yeah. Elspeth is explicitly not good here against their -1/-1 card. Trim a random extra that dies to that. Yeah, their build seems neat. I wonder if they have enough exile removal to keep up with, like, Cavalier of Thorns and Uro out of Simic. Sweet. Can we draw a 3rd land by 3? Them's the real questions. Real decks have curves, chat. Real decks have curves. I think I get Gideon going ASAP to give Pridemate lifelink, so that way it gets 2 counters, and it gets Gideon ticking up, so that way he can exile a pesky non-land permanent down the line. So his plus gives lifelink. I definitely think if you're playing this deck expecting a lot of control, Gideon's a very main deckable card, just because his lifelink does have synergy with a lot of what we're doing. Yeah, Heliod's going to be active here in a second. So super strong start here for us. gonna put a counter on Heliod, I think. This card would be busted if you could exile a land on 5 with it. It's like kind of messed up beyond belief. Cause Heliod attacks next turn after I Banishing Light.
Prepare for battle.
Woohoo! Chad's pretty good. Alright, let's smork one more time. Then we'll roll on into some green white enchantments, huh? Thanks everybody for hanging out today. Hope everyone's having a great Friday, great start to your weekend. For folks who are my regulars, I will be streaming this weekend. This is the first time in recent memory, at least, there's no release weekend open. It's about 9 a.m. Central Cornfield time. I'm planning to fire up with some Pioneer and then follow it up with some Standard on Arena, both tomorrow and Sunday. How long I plan to stream for on Saturday and Sunday are both going to depend on how many viewers are around. So if you want a lot of extra Standard content, be sure to show on up. Planning to do, I think, 2 Standard decks at a minimum each day. Probably extend to 3, 4, or 5 if we've got a lot of people around. I think Heliod's legit great in multiple formats. I think with Walking Ballista combo especially, he's real good in Pioneer. We played against this really sweet blue-white Devotion deck featuring the Quad Devotion Owl that's Standard legal in Pioneer this morning. It was really awesome. Alright, they didn't have like a Flash Wolf. Good beats. Hopefully it's just like Growth Spiral here. Not been added to the queue yet, Drunk Owl. Alright, first GP this weekend. Anything particularly exciting in a GP that's not at an SCG type event? A higher entry fee. Do you think, in general, the gods are better this time or better last time? I think they're just different. I think both the first and this set of gods have different ones that are playable and not playable. They're gonna time wipe me. It just doesn't matter. I don't have any counterplay here. This fire's usually 5 color. No, the only established fires deck is Jeskai fires. All other fires variations are brews. For the most part. Don't wipe my time, bro. Wow! Enchantment creatures are a giant Hoagland. Way to be a liability, Daxos. Bringing down the squad. All right, fly, little life's bounty, fly. I'm gonna hold on to the giant killer to very thematically kill this giant next turn. Finish him. Chopping down the beanstalk with my giant killer. Savor the flavor. Yeah, probably 5-color Nympfires, almost certainly. Almost assuredly.
Everything will be fine if we scan. Yet a pure soul can inspire.
So they're dead on board because the plus from this will make this a 7/7. Alright, so again, sweepers. I want my planeswalkers. Tomik seems not great. Giant Killer may or may not be good. Is cutting Linden correct? Cutting a slightly slower piece of my top end of my curve could be good. Maybe Faerie Guidemother's the cut. I don't love cutting 1-drops, but I probably don't need to fly over in this matchup. Could maybe be right to have Banishing Light, but I'm not sure. No worries, life. Learning experiences for everyone. The Conqueror's Death is mostly for, maybe they qualify as a control deck. Maybe they're not on the Cavalier plan. Yeah, I guess my attitude is more focused on the Cavalier plan, and they're really not on the Cavalier plan, most likely, huh? 1, 2, 3. It's just curvementary. What could it be? Found a better 1-drop. It's life's bounty. We did, Brad. We curved out like no other in game 3. We had like Gideon. We had like 1-drop Pridemate Gideon on the play. We went 1-drop Pridemate Gideon Heliod on the play. Just like ran them into the ground. You know what? Something I'm realizing that I feel like is an incredible miss. I don't think I've ever sung "We Didn't Start the Fire" in response to a Fires of Invention. And I feel like my job as an entertainer has been done poorly by that fact. This card's still legal till October though, right? So I feel like I have time to remedy this situation. Quite possibly. I'm not upset, just disappointed. Do 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 do. You have Fires deck pending submission right now. That's great. We got a response tonight. Oh wait, this one doesn't rotate for a while, right? Oh yeah, this is Eldraine. I got 1.5 years to make that joke. All right, sweet. We'll work it in, huh? Hen 3000. All right, Hen, I have to ask now. Your username implies that there might be 2,999 other Hens. Can you confirm or deny this statement? Thanks for the Prime support. Welcome to Hooglandia. I may or may not own those handles. Excellent. So we're going to trade with Pridemate here. Getting a little bit punished for not holding up Life's Bounty there. This card's also pretty good against how my hand's set up at the moment, just because this could pressure Gideon, which is not stellar for us. think we're just going to stack counters on Healer Hawk here. Time to hit the gym, little hawk. Speaking of, I haven't been to the gym in forever. I should probably remedy that sometime soon. Like, release week happened, and then everybody in my house has had a cold. Little plague carriers, chat. The littlest, tiniest plague carriers there ever were. Whoa! There's a face. This card's still legal? That's right, they didn't ban you, huh? That's wild. Okay, sure. Yeah. Yeah. Parents out there, please keep your kids home when they're sick. That's ideal. Think we're dead. I think we're dead. Vaccines? Vaccines are terrible, chat. Do you know what the truth is? Did you know that vaccines cause adults? And adults are awful. Have you met the average adult? Who wants more of those? Gosh. I know, I hate adults. I had a kid say his dad told him he could come to school or sit in his truck while he worked. He chose school. Yeah, I mean, that's a tough situation to be in too. Hashtag vote blue to save America. Let's make sure we help people who are in tough situations, huh? And don't just vote blue, vote progressive. Let's primary all the corporate Dems and feel the burn in the highest office in the land, huh? Thanks for the 7 months, Coin Flip. I appreciate that. Welcome back. So this hand doesn't have a payoff in it, but it does curve 1, 2, 3, so hopefully we hit one of our payoffs. If we hit one of our 12 payoffs, this hand is very good. The LGS manager just walked by my table and said, "Tell Jeff I hate adults too." Abyssal Snowstorm, thanks for the 13 months. Welcome back. All right, I mean, okay, so I'm supposed to Heliod here, right? I gain slightly less life, but playing Heliod this turn is better in the face of... it's better in the face of Clarion, right? Because I get to put a counter on here, so this won't even die to Clarion either. Which sounds stellar. That's awesome to hear, Sparkles. That's the real goal for the upcoming 2020 election. Let's get people out to vote in record numbers. Let's move that needle up. Do a little bit of research on the different candidates and pick the one that you think aligns the most with you. I'd encourage you to start with Bernie. So, Linden stacks him up dead real quick here, huh? Did I miss lethal? I don't think I missed lethal. I could have played Healer Hawk for one more point here. I'm going to stack all these counters on Heliod because they need a sweeper to live. And if they hit a sweeper, Heliod leaves some counters left over. All right, let's Linden so that way she doesn't die to Clarion or the wolf. That's true. People under 35 are the largest voting bloc in the country. Wow! And this is such a great example of, you know, just playing a fringe deck like what the opponent's playing, giving you so many percentage points, right? It doesn't matter because I'm the luckiest Magic the Gathering player in the world. Hashtag swish. But if I had been aware that this was a card I was playing around, I would have stacked my 1/1 counters differently, right? Jeff, I've been out for a little while. Dealer's choice for the sub up is standard better. Theros has been very good for standard, Sans Serif. I really think not only just the format in general, but from a design perspective, I really feel like Theros knocked it out of the park. I think the only thing close to a borderline offensive design in Theros is Uro, and even Uro probably wouldn't be that bad if it wasn't for Nissa and Cavalier of Thorns. I really feel like they did a good job of printing powerful cards like this and this that just don't go in everything, but have that little bit of build around, but still have good cards to build around them with. They did just excellent overall. As far as this deck is concerned, our main deck is starting and finishing in the same spot. I'm really pretty happy with the main deck here. I feel like we did some good work on the sideboard today. The Conqueror's Death were nice in the sideboard, but a little bit too expensive overall for as many as we were playing. Gideon and Elspeth are some of our best tools against the control decks in the format, I think, so getting up into these is good. Gideon really got to flex his muscles a couple of times in that set, which was good. And Banishing Light, just a good flexible answer. The toughest matchup for this deck so far has definitely felt like the Oven matchup, and I think the way we want to approach that Jund Oven matchup is being able to always kill Mayhem Devil. While it does seem appealing to take their artifacts and enchantments, it's Mayhem Devil and Korvald that actually end the game. So boarding in 3 Decree and 3 Banishing Light, having 6 ways to take those 2 off the table seems very, very good. And I think that's the axis I want to try and attack that matchup from post-board. All right, we've got at least one more deck coming up here today. We're going to dive on into some green-white enchantments here. A little bit different configuration than the more aggressively slanted build we played the other day. I'm going to hit a quick ad roll while we got set up for this one. I'm back in just a few minutes with a little bit more magic. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out today.